young women can't find a lot of young men who want to marry a working woman now.
Yeah, it's been a problem for a while. You want a traditional man? Then you got to be a traditional woman.
They're not attractive if they also work.
Because guess what? That career ambition, that's masculine energy.
You're really not that valuable unless you give it up and go into the home and only have a family.
That's a feminist talking point. I'm sorry, but it is. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, and it's going to drive you crazy, but it has to be done this way. Hello, everyone, and welcome. So I'm popping in here today to react to a clip that's gone viral from MEGYN Kelly. I'm sure many of you have seen it, talking about topics that we talk about all the time. Well, this one blew up, and I was watching it, and I said, you know what? I got to pop in and give my 2 cents. So here we go. We're going to pull it up. We're going to stop and go through this because there's a lot to cover here. So let's go.
Here's what's happening on the right. Young women, I talk to young conservative women all the time about their lives and their goals and, you know, the things that they want. And what's happening is they can't find men who are maybe more conservative. Usually they're looking for somebody who is religious, you know, like a lot of conservative women tend to be God-loving conservatives. And they can't find a lot of young men who want to marry a working woman now. This is an actual problem that's coming up on the right. And to me, it's so sad because it's like...
Pause there for me. We're going to do this a bit here. Oh, man. So do you see the shock initially? She's shocked that this is a problem. She's like, this is an actual problem. Yeah, it's been a problem for a while. This is not new. This is not a new thing. And here's the bottom line. We'll say before we even start. First of all, it's I wouldn't call it sad. I think it's just reality. It just is. Right? And conservative men typically don't want a working woman because they don't want to delegate childhood responsibilities to nanny, au pair, daycare. They don't want any of that. So we're going to set that precedent right up front. They're not interested in outsourcing the raising of their children to strangers. And essentially that's what it is. Oh, but the nanny becomes part of the family. Sure, it's still not mom. And we're going to talk about why mom is different from dad in a second. But let's keep playing it.
How did we get to the point where we're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work? If they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing.
Okay, let's pause it again. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, and it's going to drive you crazy, but it has to be done this way. How did we get here? We got here because a lot of those God-loving men who prioritize family values, who prioritize faith, who prioritize traditional roles for men and women, who prioritize their children, saw what was happening. And what was happening in the world as more and more women started to work. And, you know, it was like 2 heads of household and 2 incomes and two levels of stress that were going like this through the household. They were watching what was happening to their kids. And they were having to do daycare. And they were having to do, let's hire a nanny. And they were having to figure out these other ways to get their children taken care of that was not mom, because it had been mom for a long time. So they have seen the negative implications of this, not just on the children, by the way. They have seen their wives get increasingly stressed by this, career climb, that a lot of them harbor this idea that they want something, but then they do it and they feel completely stressed and agitated because it is intense. And we're going to talk about, she brings herself into this and what a MEGYN Kelly climb looks like, because I've been there. And they watch their wives disappear, go to work every day, get stressed out, get, too tired to be mom, feel the pull and the tug of how do I be mom? And how do I also do this career that now I've told myself that I want, when a lot of times when you dig really deep, they don't even want it. They want the idea of it. I will promise you that. And they see the impact on their household. The stress in their household goes up. All of a sudden, they're looking at, nannies, au pairs, if they've got enough money. And typically not. Typically daycare, giving their kids daily lessons. You know how many times kids ask questions during the day that they want answers to? My son asks questions all day long. If mommy is not there to answer those questions, a stranger is, right? Who's the lady at daycare? What's her belief system? What's her value system, right? Does it align with yours? You don't know. The average woman doesn't know. She's not going in and vetting all of these people all day long to figure out how they feel about X, Y, and Z. It's impossible to do that. And most women who find themselves in these situations are not going to be able to vet the nanny and go through an agency and do it. It's just too expensive, particularly when you start a MEGYN Kelly climb. You want to be at the MEGYN Kelly of the future? Well, you're not starting at a seven-figure salary. It's a horrible climb in media. It's a nightmare. It's a stressful nightmare. So a lot of these guys saw the impact, not only to their children, who they were very uncomfortable with being raised by the outside, they also saw the impact on those children when mommy wasn't at bedtime because she's hosting a primetime show, or she's, trying to host a primetime show and having to appear on all of these shows. Hey, can you come on this in 20 minutes and go sit in here and make up for an hour and do, hey, can you pop on the show at this time? And blah, blah, and all of a sudden absent. They saw their kids wanting mom, because when kids are young and they get a boo-boo on their knee, they want mom. They want mommy. When they don't feel good, when they've got a cold, they want mom. When they need tenderness, affection, nurturing, they want mom. When they feel insecure about something, they want mom. They run to mom. There's a lot of research behind this, by the way, that talks about, how we all have a frequency and energy in our body. Kids, when they are young, have the frequency of their mom. It's what's familiar to them. They've been inside your body, right? You carried them for 9 months. It's what's most familiar. Children naturally gravitate toward mom when there's distress. You see it. I'm not breaking news for you. And when mom's not there, it's a problem. They feel that absence. Dad then watches them feel that absence. Dad's trying to work, do whatever he's got to do to pay the bills, right? And he doesn't want to drop his kid off at daycare. He doesn't want an au pair or a nanny stepping in for mom. He wants mom to be mom because he loves her and he married her for a reason. And he trusts her with those children. And he wants her value system that he married and loves with all of his heart to be the one that's passed along to that child, not some strangers at daycare.
But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another MEGYN Kelly voice up and coming. Well, why wouldn't we want that? Why would we take somebody who's talented in this field and really wants to make a difference and have the messaging to her be, you're really not that valuable unless you give it up and go into the home and only have a family and only raise a family.
So that also, let's stop. I don't, that wording, and only have a family, like it, that's over here in the corner, right? That's part of your job, but it's not all of your, only raise a family. Like it's minimized. You're only going to raise a family? That's a feminist talking point. I'm sorry, but it is. Only raise a family? It's the most important job. It's it, right? And there's this idea, well, don't you want another MEGYN Kelly or another? You can put any name in here she's been very successful in her industry, right? She's hosted prime time, she's hosted daytime, she's hosted network, cable news, all of it, right? So she's been successful. You can insert, Hoda or whoever you want in there, right? And this idea that, don't you want a MEGYN Kelly voice coming up? Sure. What they want more, what those guys want more is someone with their wife home and having that effect of, the MEGYN Kelly can talk about these important issues, right? And can bring them to the forefront and have this microphone. And that's okay, sure. Or can take that value system and be present with that value system that's so powerful in the home and passing it along to the children. This is not a judgment on MEGYN Kelly, by the way. I don't know what her house looks like. I know she works a lot. I know she has worked a lot. I'm sure that there was a drain there. In fact, I think I remember seeing a clip of her when she shifted over to network saying she wanted more time with her kids. Reasonable, right? So this is not a dig at her because I don't know who runs her house. I don't know. This is, however, commentary on this idea that it's more valuable somehow to have a MEGYN Kelly, a Jedediah Bila, right? And I haven't hosted primetime, but I've hosted a hella television, The View, Fox and Friends Weekend, Outnumber, all that. Yes, I've done it. The idea that it would be more valuable to have my voice with my value system and what I care about projected on the screen or at this mic for you than it would be to have me present in my home and passing that value system 100% onto my kid is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. The biggest impact you can have as a woman, if you have children, is to be a present mom. Okay. And I'm going to get to this job that Jed, you're at the mic. We'll get to that. We will get to that. Let's keep going.
Not only are we sending her that message, but young men are actually believing that. They're actually believing it, especially on the right.
Stop again. I'm going to do this. Conservative men aren't believing this idea that, having a working mom is problematic because they've been told. They're not believing it because the trad mom has become popular. They're believing it because they believe it. Because at their core, they know that traditional families with a traditional mom and a traditional dad, where the dad is the breadwinner and the mom is the primary caregiver of those children, is best case scenario for those kids, particularly when those children are small. They know it. They know it. They believe it. They see the impact when that's not the case. They see the impact of an absentee mom. They see the impact of outsourcing these responsibilities to strangers. And they believe in their heart of hearts, I don't want that for my family. I'm not attracted to that. I don't need a boss babe. I don't need, a woman who's ambitious and can climb a ladder. I don't need any of that. I am that. I don't need a corresponding masculine energy in my home. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it for my kids. I don't want it. I don't need you to be ambitious. I don't need you to be career woman driven. I need you to want to take care of a beautiful home. I need you to be feminine, because guess what? That career ambition, that's masculine energy. It is. We'll get to that in a second. It's masculine energy, and it eats away at your feminine energy. As you climb those ladders and you go into those rooms and have to negotiate contracts and have to show up on live TV and kick ass, your feminine energy goes, it has to. It has to. Or you don't survive in that world, in that MEGYN Kelly world. She's on a podcast now. It's probably a little bit different for her now, but I promise you she didn't start on a podcast. You know that. She had to climb. And that world is vicious because I've been in it. I've been in those meetings. I've dealt with the agents. I've done it all. It is vicious. It rips at your soul as a woman. We're being dishonest if we don't share that.
Because the trad mom has gotten so popular, and it's no, if we do that, we're not going to have any strong conservative or right-leaning women to provide a role model for younger conservative women who, and there's nothing to apologize for here.
Who cares, really? Sorry, I said it. This microphone is not that important when you compare it to being present in a home. This idea that we need to be role models in work to other conservative women who want to rise up and place that above being role models in our own home to our children, to the community. You know what serves as a role model? Being present at home, keeping a beautiful home. Your daughters, your sons see that. The cousins come over, the family at large, the extended family, the church, the community that you live in sees that. Other kids come over to play and they see what mom does. Wow, mom bakes cookies and wow, they look delicious. And mom has big old breakfast on the table and mom wakes up with a smile and mom and dad are affectionate and loving and compliment each other in a beautiful way. And, mom looks really happy and sits outside and plays in the grass with us all day. And, mom is mom. Mom's affectionate and tender and puts the baby down for a nap and maybe takes a little nap with that little baby and schmoozes that little face. And that is being a role model. That is the biggest role model job you can have. Forget the microphone. Who cares? In comparison, now, can you have an influence? Do I sit here and hope to have an influence? Sure, yes. Do I prioritize this over the time I spend with my son all day and night? I'm in the studio for 2 hours, an hour and a half, actually, a week by choice. Is this in any way comparative? No. I'm out with my kid. I'm interacting with him, his friends. I've got family over. I'm making a beautiful home. I'm cleaning up. I want my son to see. Mommy does X. Mommy has beautiful food on the table. Mommy hosts family, and mommy and daddy have this amazing relationship, and we're affectionate and loving. And mommy is all of these things that in my view, a mommy should be. And when a mommy is those things, the kid grows up the healthiest. You know what mommy's not? Mommy's not rushing to work. Mommy's not agitated, checking a bunch of emails all day. Mommy's not having her mind distracted trying to be for everybody else, right? The role model, be on the mic all day long, show every day, the grind, the topics, did the producer get that, hair and makeup, blah, blah, blah. All of this while the kid's running around and the nanny's, doing mom. Nanny can't do mom the way mom can do mom. That's not helpful. That's not comparative. This just isn't that important. I'm sorry, it's not. And the conservative men saying, yeah, I don't care. I'd rather not have you be, at the mic and be with the kids. Let your role model job shine in the most important venue, the home.
Don't necessarily want to spend all their 20s and their 30s getting married and having kids, or...
Okay, pause it again. The reason a lot of women in their 20s and 30s don't meet guys is because they're not prioritizing it, because they are doing the climb. Let's say there is a conservative woman out there and she looks at MEGYN Kelly and says, oh, I want to do that. Sure, it looks great now. She's got her own podcast. She probably makes her own schedule. I don't know what the deal is there, but I assure you that life was not peachy keen when she was doing the climb. Okay. And if you're doing the climb, let's pick media as an example, but you could pick finance. You could pick any field that you're going to do a real career climb in. Wall Street. I don't care what it is, right? Nursing. I don't care. If you're doing a real career climb, you are not able to prioritize that and prioritize meeting a guy that you're going to have your sights set on marriage and family and prioritizing. You cannot do both. You cannot prioritize both things. So what happens is that women say, oh, these are my 20s. These are my young years. I'm going to prioritize my career. I'm going to do that. They get stressed. They get agitated. They get, caught up, which is what happens. You're in the climb. All of a sudden it goes a little longer than you'd expect, right? Now you're at 32, 33. And then it gets harder. Then all of a sudden you want that guy to just show up, right? Husband, okay, I'm ready now. Where are you? What? Oh, you're not here? Now I have to start really actively prioritizing that? Oh, but I'm older. Your fertility's not at peak anymore. It just isn't, right? I'm not saying you can't get pregnant. I got pregnant at 40. I'm not saying it can't happen. Is it harder for the vast majority of women to get pregnant late than early? Yes, your fertility is just better in your 20s for all of us. It's biology. So is it harder? Yeah, it is. And you know what is making it increasingly harder for women to get pregnant? Yes, we can talk about the toxins and the endocrine disruptors and all the chemicals and all that. And yeah, sure. You know what else is doing it? Stress. Anything that peaks your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, messes with every other hormone in your body. You can't have your estrogen, your progesterone all working right if your cortisol's up here. It doesn't work like that. The stress hormone, everything is out of whack then. And guess what happens? You get irregular cycles. All of a sudden, it leads to chaos. So that climb that you got to do to get to be MEGYN Kelly is full of stress. Your hormones are whacked out. So you land at 33 or 34, or whenever it is that you wake up and realize, oh, I did all this. Now I want my family. Oh, it doesn't just magically appear. You panic. And now your hormones are all out of whack. And then guess what? Rolls in. Then you got to be looking into IVF, all that. And for some women, maybe that would be the case anyway. But for a lot of them, this stress is taking a massive toll.
Can't. They just weren't able to meet somebody and definitely don't need to be shamed over it.
No one is shaming. What they're saying is it's not ideal. Okay. I also want to talk about a couple of things here. I want to talk about the climb. Okay. Because there's this idea that, you want to be a conservative, you want to be a MEGYN Kelly. Awesome. Let's talk about what that looks like and what it does to women. And another reason why conservatives don't like it. I guarantee you there are a lot of conservatives sitting out there. MEGYN Kelly's very successful, attractive woman. She has a strong voice. She has strong opinions. She's been successful, objectively so, in her industry, right? She's a mom. Okay. I've met her. She's very nice. This is not a personal attack on her at all. But what she's saying is just, it's not accurate. And it's not, I don't think it does justice to the way these men actually feel. But they look at a MEGYN Kelly and do a lot of them want a MEGYN Kelly? They do not. They don't. And I'll tell you why. Because women who take that road get masculinized. You can't help it. When you go into television, say you go into podcasting, she's talking about conservative women who want to get into the industry. So I'm going to address it from that angle. But again, you can look at it from the angle of someone, getting serious. Wall Street woman, same game. When you go into those meetings, and I'm going to talk specifically about media because I've been there. When your agent sends you into these meetings, when you're competing with men in these industries, when you are talking about salaries all the time, and you are basically having to put out there that you will take no shit, When you are covering news topics that are very antagonistic and having to butt heads all day long, like this on television and news particularly, you are masculinized. You have to be in order to handle it. Your softness, your feminine energy that you would have gets beaten out of you because you can't walk into those meetings with your soft feminine energy. You'll get stomped on. You have to bring out, it's like your testosterone just balloons because you have to survive. And if you're looking to climb, it's a survival game. You've got to get to the top somehow. And it masculinizes you. And that woman comes home and is hardened. Your softness is hardened. And these conservative guys don't like it. It's less mom energy and more boss babe. And they're not into it. They're not into it. They're not drawn to it. They don't need a carbon copy of their masculine, high testosterone energy in their house. They're looking for a woman. It's not appealing. And I know I say this all the time. Women will look at other women and say, oh, that's really cool. Guys don't care about your job in that way. The vast majority, oh, but I have a husband who cares about, okay, you're the outlier. You're talking about conservative. She said it herself, God-loving, I think she almost said God-fearing, God-loving folk are not prioritizing a woman's job. They're not. It's never going to be the case. Now, let's talk about me for a second, okay? Let's just talk about me for a second because people will say you're at the mic. Let me explain something to you. When I had a baby, and I made a lot of mistakes in my 20s and 30s. We'll get to that in a second. But when I had a baby, my whole life changed. My entire life changed. I had just gotten a job at Fox and Friends Weekend, which is a 2-day-a-week job. Okay, 2 days. I got pregnant very soon. I was not anticipating getting pregnant right away. I was older. I said, I don't know. We just said, oh, let's throw caution to the wind and see what happens. I got pregnant naturally on try one. Amazing gift from God, beautiful. But I was like, I signed a contract. I think it was a week earlier. Maybe it wasn't even a week. I immediately was like, ooh, I don't want to do this. Immediately. Because I was like, I'm pregnant. I want to live it up. I had just signed. My agent was like, you can't do this to me. I said, listen, it's all right. It's 2 days a week. And it really was. I would get up at 4 a.m, horrible for my circadian rhythm and a nightmare of a job. I will say that. I would get up at 4 a.m. and I would be home by 10:30 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday. I worked 2 days. I immediately started, whittling down other appearances. I was pregnant, but I was like, I want to live in this I want to nap. I want to do the stuff, right? I was nesting. The second I had that child and was on maternity, I got 3 months maternity leave. The second that happened, I was like, I do not want to do this job. I didn't want to do it. I felt torn. I felt agitated. And I was there. Arguably, this is the dream job, right? This is the part-time job. I had a part-time job. I was working on weekends. That was it. At that point, I stopped doing any outside appearances on other shows. I just did the show that I did and would rush home. It's that little nugget. Then COVID hit. I got to work from home. Do you know where I did the show for 2 years? From my parents' house. Upstairs. We lived downstairs during COVID. My parents lived upstairs. I would go upstairs, do the show, come back downstairs. And one of the reasons that I didn't want to go back, people are like, where are you going back to the studio? I was taking care of my parents who were going through a tough time health-wise post-jab. And one of them actually. And I was with my child and I was in no rush. So you're right. I did milk that experience for all it was worth because my priority was to be with my family. And that just was. I wasn't eager to get back to the studio, right? At that point, I also made a decision. I wasn't going to miss bedtimes. I didn't want to miss bedtimes. Do you know how many bedtimes I've missed in 5 years? 2 bedtimes. I went to Florida once to meet with Patrick Bet-David, and I went to the Blaze to meet with Glenn. I missed 2 bedtimes. I FaceTimed through them. I cried. I didn't want to be that mom. I decided I wasn't going to travel. I did a book tour. I didn't travel for it. I don't travel. You can ask any one of these people that I've worked with. Call Patrick and be like, does Jed go out? He'll be like, oh, it's a nightmare. Can't get her to do anything because Hartley's always there, right? He's always there. He would come to the office when I had the studio. He would hang out. Everybody knows if you invite me to dinner, it's going to be my little man's with me. I want him with me. I don't want to miss bedtimes. I'm there for every bedtime. Whatever podcast reached out to me about 1.5 years ago and was like, hey, come on. It was at the peak of, a lot of success. And they said it's 7 hours. I said 7 hours. I'm going to miss bedtime. I'm not doing that. Can't do it. Sorry. I can do 2 hours. We can't have you for 2 hours. Okay, never mind. Not doing it. I made a very clear decision that being present for my son was a priority. You say, well, I'm at the mic now. I tape for 1.5 hours a week. Any outside appearances need to follow this. And then I cut my own show short. I'm not going past 2 hours because we have farmers market day and we have activities and we have stuff planned for him. And that's the priority. So when people look at my life, and you know what, in my 20s and 30s, 20s really, in my 20s, what did I do in my 20s? I wasted a lot of time. This stupid climb in this ridiculous industry, did it masculinize me? It sure as heck did. It hardened me. I had to kind of shed that hard exterior and be like, ooh, get it off me. I don't want it. And I wasted time. She was saying, oh, well, maybe women in their 20s want to do this or that. What are they doing? What are they doing? Hooking up with a bunch of guys that they know aren't going to be, a husband because, oh, it's too soon. I need to focus on my career right now and prioritize my own experience. And that's good. You're aging yourself, honey. You're aging yourself out of the dating market. Because what's valuable in women is their fertility, is their youth, is their beauty. It just is. It just is. And I'll tell you, a guy would much rather have a content, not stressed out woman, home with the kids, happy, greets him at the door with a big hug and a smile, made some fresh sourdough, man, that's delicious with a big slab of raw butter on that, made a beautiful dinner, smiles, it's clean, it sparkles when you walk in, would much rather have that than a masculinized television host, female, that's speaking to conservative women and creating this, here are the morals that you should live by. And all that's great, but it's not as appealing. They'll take their sourdough with raw butter over that any day. They want soft. There's a softness in women that is so beautiful. Men don't have that. They don't have it, and so they seek it. And it's perfect for nurturing a child. So why would these career climbs just beat it out of you? They know it. They see it happening. The reason that guys feel so strongly about this is because they see what it does to their wives. It tortures them. It changes them, and not in a good way. So bottom line is, MEGYN Kelly's clip is well-intentioned, I think. She's trying to say, we want to be supportive and all that. The greatest impact you can have as a woman in when you're talking about morality, when you're talking about values, is being present in your own home. The rest is just whatever. I don't care how many people listen to you on the microphone. What good does it do? What good does it do for your husband to say, well, my wife went out today and worked all day and got on that microphone and spewed all this really valuable stuff to the world. But what happened to my kids? But your kids got their daily lessons from the nanny. They got their view of the world from the au pair or the daycare teacher. Oh, think about what you're saying. Think about what you're saying. And these guys, by the way, should not be shamed for wanting a traditional woman. They are traditional men. Feminists, and this is, by the way, this MEGYN Kelly clip this is the covert feminism that we talk. It just is. You can't want a traditional man. Women will say, I want a traditional man. I want a traditional man with traditional values. But you want that traditional man to not want a traditional woman because you want to still get to be a feminist. And you want him to like that about you. You want him to be a traditional, God-loving man who provides and protects, who's masculine, who's gentlemanly. But you want that guy to want a boss babe and to embrace the boss babe in you and to embrace your career ambition and to embrace the very thing about your life, that career that takes you away from those children and puts those kids with a nanny or an au pair, best case scenario, and worst case scenario, daycare. That's not a traditional man. That's not what they want. It doesn't work that way. You want a traditional man? Then you got to be a traditional woman. They're not boss babes. The end. Thank y'all. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. See you back here soon.